I spent 40 hours in Horizon Forbidden West, and I came to the conclusion that this game should have been called Horizon Soft West. Hi everyone, this is Alex. Horizon Forbidden West is a unique game. It's an example of how corporate identity, the chase for social trends, the agenda and inclusivity can kill the main story, the dialogue, the side quests and even the main character. And in this $60 game, all that remains is a stunning graphics. The first game had a strong core idea. The theme wasn't exactly new, humanity destroyed by machines, but the interpretation was interesting. The setting forced you to explore the world because the environment sparked curiosity. The plot told two stories, the world of the old ones and the world Aloy found herself in. That world had its own architecture, which personally reminded me of ancient times. The inhabitants had a distant look, and the ancient machines looked threatening enough to make the backstory feel believable. The first part hooked you with a sense of loss in the beginning, the mystery of Aloy's origin and the riddles of the old ones. The second part, in 40 hours, couldn't offer me any of that. In the beginning of Forbidden West, nothing actually forbidden happens to justify the title or set the mood. Maybe some unknown character loses an arm and they show us blood because he got crushed by a machine. But I don't care. I don't know him. Even though later he joins Aloy, but I still don't care about him. Take the very first major tribe, the Utaru. They are farmers. Their crops are infected with the red blight. You would expect famine, death, suffering around them, but there is none of that. Inside their settlement, everything is totally fine. The world is written and depicted naively. It feels unnatural. It feels like the writers were sitting inside safe, self-inflatable bubbles, trying to transfer corporate culture, ethics and values dictated by the message into the game. But for drama, they decided to artificially create a world-ending thread within the script. The beginning of Mass Effect 2 hooks the player because we don't know the fate of the characters we love, or if they are even alive. Also, Shepard himself is vulnerable and not all-powerful. It sets a tone similar to The Empire Strikes Back. But in Forbidden West this is impossible, because that would set a specific tone, and the plot is trying desperately to remain neutral. The female characters in this game represent the only strong, competent and smart half of humanity. It feels like they were taken straight from that photo. The overwhelming majority of the narrative tries to reveal the world through female characters. But why tries? Because the dialogues and the characters themselves carry zero informational weight. The writers forgot to flesh out the world or give the actors proper direction, so they communicate as if they are all gathered at a corporate team-building event that no one cares about, but everyone is trying to be polite. It would be strange to nitpick Aloy. She's the protagonist, obviously the main driving force. However, her strength doesn't feel natural. Aloy looks more like an upstart who tries to do everything herself, rejecting any help. She's made artificially all-powerful, yet it doesn't allow her to bypass bureaucracy at the embassy that keeps the gates to the west closed. Even though, according to the plot, the world is on the brink of destruction, why not handle it like this? But Aloy is no renegade. The first character Aloy allows to join her is Zoe. She is exiled by the Utaru tribe, those same farmers hit by the plague. However, we don't dive into the villagers' troubles through the environment of Plainsong, but through Zoe. It feels like it was cheaper to record dialogue than to stress the animation team, 3D modelers and programmers, and the storytelling through her is insanely boring. Then there's Dagon, a chaplain and advisor to the clan, who also organizes the tribe's defense during the Cold War. Why this is entrusted to a chaplain is unclear. She acts as if she is the one in charge here, not Hikaru. And when the game gives us the base, where we restore Gaia, where our team finally assembles, the characters around Aloy spark zero interest. Right now at my base I have Zoe, a guy with one hand, an alcoholic, Varl, who is super politically correct and bland, and a hysterical copy of Aloy who constantly whines. She is supposed to be the most advanced assistant for Aloy. She knows a ton of things, but in reality she just acts as an alarmist and panic monger.
What difference does it make? You're too far behind. We're never going to beat them. Everything, everyone, are going to die.
Hey!
But Aloy is no renegade. And I won't even say anything about Talana. She just appears in the frame for a moment, explains nothing, and runs away. What is the point of her? The male characters in this game are absolutely boring. They are stupid, incapable of making decisions on their own, they just joke around trying to hide some awkwardness, or they are fearful and mercantile, or simply useless filling the role of corpses and background extras. Also, such an expensive game couldn't afford different actors for different roles. This just looks sad. I joked about Kotalo, but I think he is the only one written at a somewhat decent level. So far, his story is interesting, but he stands out only because everyone else has done so poorly. The problem with this world is that it isn't authentic. There are characters included simply to tick a checkbox for a diversity box.
And you think he's crazy for trying?
I'm not a fan of that word. When I chose to wear a woman's armor, people called me crazy too.
This completely pulls you out of a game world that is barely holding your attention as it is. Even the villains are poorly done. Regala so far, she is just an angry woman with a giant sword who constantly promises to kick everyone's asses next time. You know, we could nitpick that we fought corruptors with bows and arrows in the previous game, but here fighting specters, it looks completely surreal. At least give us the prophet suit from Crisis then. Graphically, this game is a giant step forward. From a narrative standpoint, it's a degradation. And in 2026, it looks really bad. Thanks for watching to the end, subscribe and hit like. Let me know if you finished Horizon Forbidden West and what your impressions were. Let me know in the comments. See ya. By the way, I produced the entire soundtrack for this video. If you like the atmosphere, the link is in the pinned comment.